Okay, let's see what we got here. Hey, good evening. Hey, Jeff, good to see you. Pouring those babies down. Yeah, that sounded a little weird. Glad you clarified what you were actually doing. So good to see you, Jeff. Thanks for coming along. Big crowd tonight. I guess everyone's out, still out shoveling or something like that. So probably will be a short show tonight. Jeff, are you streaming tonight? Just let me know. Also, I need to do a couple of tests. I can see that chat is working tonight, so that's a good thing. No stream. Okay. Well, I still have to. It's still going to be short. I have to do the. I have to do the sun thing and go run down to my mother's house tomorrow morning early. So I don't want to be up too late tonight. It's a long drive. So I want to do a quick test. I'm going to switch something, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a multi-view new patio bench. I want to put up a new, or I want to put up a multi-view screen, and what I want to know is if it changes what you guys see. Kurt, good evening. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. So real quick, I'm going to push a button. I'm going to see something different on this monitor. What I'm hoping is that you still see me when I push the button. So here we go. We're going to make this test real quick. So I'm now looking at the multi-viewer, and hopefully this does what I want it to do. So I've done looking at the multi-viewer, still me, that's good. I'm going to give it like 20 or 30 seconds just for the lags and all that kind of thing. But you should actually be seeing the picture of the multi-viewer if you're going to. So we're going to come back to me for my screen. Excellent. So that was some confusion in the way that I thought that the ATEM switcher worked. And I was under the impression that whatever was going to the number one HDMI output is also what was going to the streaming output. And it's actually not. So I can switch around on both monitors now with impunity, and you guys will always see program, which is excellent. That makes me very happy. So that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into what little there's going to be of the show tonight. Like I said, it's going to be a short one, I think, just because we don't have a huge crowd tonight. But I do want to, the what's in the jam is simple. Well, this is like, my layout is, I understand my layout of things, and I know where things are. I know where they are on the Stream Deck, and all that kind of stuff. But what I wasn't clear on was what went, and I'll look at, when I look at the recordings, I will know, because I like, yeah, my recordings are going to see, one of my recordings is definitely going to see the multi-viewer pop up because it is fed from the HDMI 1 output. The other recording, I'm not sure. So we'll see what that happens. Yeah, you've got two of the HDMI switches. I've just got the one 4x4. So, and the other, one of my recorders is still out at the shop. They've got it. They're running tests on it to see if they can, see what they can figure out is wrong with it. They think it just needs a fan. But, you know, my concern is if it was overheating and shutting down, that something else may have been damaged. I wish they had the 8x8 as well in this line. There are 8x8s, but they're incredibly expensive for either HDMI or SDI. They're both really expensive, unfortunately. Or I'd have one. Let's see. So, opening my little drink can here, my tonic water. Let's go ahead. What's in the jam is real simple tonight. We'll go ahead and get into that. Let's see, do that guy. So everything was ultra again, except for this guy. Was this lead. Let's see. So this is the Arturia CZV, which is their emulation of the CZ1. Which is kind of a strange synth. I've got that feeding into Valhalla's Supermassive with something I tweaked up. Everything else, like I said, it's, let's see, we go ahead and go through it. I had this lead coming off of, come back here, off of Ultra. We'll go ahead and this guy, go ahead and do that. And also from Ultra, we had this guy. which is just real quiet tonight. Let's do this. Make that go away. And this was, I used this one yesterday in the, or a version of this one yesterday in the Gallimaufry jam, I think. I definitely used this next one yesterday. And the bass line also came out of Ultra again. I think this is the same one I used last week. This also makes a pretty interesting lead. Very useful analogish kind of sound. This would have made a good drone yesterday, now that I listen to it. And then the percussion, just I've got two different Ableton Live kits. Let's see, I'll have to make it do its sequence. This one is just doing a kick and just a little bit of stuff. That little poop every once in a while. And then we have this guy. Stop that. This is coming out of Session Percussionist. Yet another variation of this setup. And finally in the jam, another drum kit doing this. So putting all the drums together, get this. You have the bass line in, you get this cool thing going. Anyway, yeah, so that was pretty much it. So a couple weeks ago, I started talking about, let's actually catch up one thing from last week. I know not everyone's here, but maybe they'll tune in later. Last week we were talking about some stuff in the Ensoniq world, and we were talking about Transwaves, and the question came up with was what exactly is the difference between a Transwave and the Crosswave, which figured in the SQ80 we were looking at last week. And so the difference is a Crosswave, which was their earlier multi-wave sound construction. Crosswave is more like having a transient wave and then the rest of the waveform that follows. So there's two different, like there's a different attack versus the rest of the sound. And then a transwave is similar, very similar to a modern wavetable. And so that's really the difference between them. So there were the other question is, when did these things show up in the line? And so the first Ensoniq keyboard to have transwaves was in fact the VFX. And then the first of the samplers to have transwaves was the EPS 16 Plus, which came, I guess, about a year or so after or within a year maybe, of the VFX SD. So that's kind of the lineage there. And then, you know, there was a whole bunch of upgrades and things you could do, different models. But once they hit the VFX SD, all of the synthesizers from that point on had transwaves. And once they hit the EPS 16 Plus, they had transwave technology built into the samplers as well. So that's the history there, and just caught that up. We were talking too about you know, wishing that their last, or actually second to last, synthesizer was available in software. Paul had mentioned that there is something from a company called Echo Grain. They have a contact instrument called Transwave, and that's trans with a Z. It is similar in function and sound, but it's not exactly the same. So that's about as close as you're going to get to Fizmo today if you want a software Fizmo. So that's the catch up from last week, and pretty much it. So one of the things that I had also started talking about was like going through and categorizing my synths and that got me thinking, well, there's a lot of synths I have. I mean, I've got a huge number of software synths that I just don't use. Like, you know, all these plugins, and there's like, if you go into, we'll set this up to be instruments. I never look at the Apple. I mean, I don't even look at the Apple audio unit synths because it's not something I could easily share. This is a sequencer, I think. Yeah, that's a sequencer. I got all these things in all these Arturia instruments that I never or almost never use. And then in Dawson, there's a couple lesser used or what have become lesser used synths. Device Meister is Stepic. Higher Plane is another sequencer thing. I've got the Korgs. Now, you notice too, there's two of everything because I've got VST3 and audio units. I have to use the VSTs for them to be compatible in Complete Control. You know, and then there's Cube and a couple of Moog synths and, you know, Native Instruments stuff. And I put FM8 back on the system because I wanted to do a comparison at some point between that and Op6. You know, and I've got the Omnisphere and Zebra 3 and Zebralet and Ultra, which you're hearing, and Vital, and, you know, this little guy. Oops, I'm going to wish I hadn't done that. That just broke. I just broke one of my drum kits. Oh well, that's all right. No big deal. I'm gonna want that drum kit back. Let me see if I can undo that. Yeah, there it goes. Let's open up a new MIDI track here. So I can do this without messing stuff up. So anyway, I just thought I'd start playing around with some of my older stuff that I don't use as much. And you know, like I said before, I wanted to start kind of categorizing things. And so anyway, for those who want to stay along for the ride, that's fine. We can chat and I'll play with stuff, and you know, something interesting may come from it. Who knows? So let's see. So Acid is their TB303 bass synth thing. Let me just put that in. You can tell I haven't used it in I haven't used it since I installed it on the machine, because it's, you know, wanting to give me the tour. Let me set up the routing here real quick. There we go. And I'll turn the volume down because that'll be loud. Let's see. I don't know how much this even fits into my music anymore, you know? I mean, it does some funky stuff, you know. And you can see the stuff can all be, you know, the controls can all be modulated. If you go into the advanced mode, you get a sequencers and modulators, and there's effects. Hey, George. We're just kind of going through stuff, you know, playing around, seeing what, I was saying there's stuff that I just don't use, and so I'm trying to figure how this thing would fall into ambient, you know. I was really excited when it first came out, and one of the reasons was because, oh, we got the funky stuff. Some of the first electronic music that I did was done with a piece of software called Rebirth. And Rebirth was a TB303 clone. It was a combination of TB303 and some rhythm machine of the same era in one plug-in. I like the sound. I just don't know how it fits into what I'm doing these days, you know. If I were still doing some of that stuff I was doing back in the You Gotta Want It days with my old partner, we could, you know, it would certainly be usable. I'm looking for a wonder. Does it have, where is it? It's got to have it. Got to have. Gotta have, oh, it's, you know, it's per step. That's right. Slides are per step in this. That's right. I forgot that. Yeah. So let's see. Can I tie? Remember how to tie notes. Well, I guess if I did that and of course, this would be better if I had it in the key that we're playing in. We are in D Dorian tonight. And I can slow it down, I guess, maybe. Yeah, that's probably useful, maybe. So by default, it doesn't, like, if you do its generators, it doesn't like holding out notes very long. So I guess part of what I want to do here too is kind of sort of rate these things in my, yeah, you know what, it's definitely going to get, so I guess what I should do is be rating these things while I'm doing this. So, do I have any ratings already set up, I guess, is some of these things. There's some weird stuff in these ratings. Okay, so let's do this. Let's come out of the, back to all the plugins, back to here. Go to acid and might have to do this the old-fashioned way for now and write it down. Wasn't really prepared for that. Notepad. Actually, I could do this. What do we do? No, that's not going to work well. It's going to flip out. Let's see. Yeah, maybe we can get it to do it. Come on. Go in the notepad and let's go to a new note. I will just do it right in here. That's fine. So let's see. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Let's see. And yes, V. I'll give that a rating. I'm just going to bang some stuff down here. Can I tap? Yeah. I'll give that a rating of 3 for now. And we go back to the synth. Slide that puppy past you. So Analog Lab is Analog Lab. That's fine. ARP 2600 I don't know that I really need. And because I've got a 2600 over here. So I don't know that I even really am going to need to have that. I'll probably uninstall it just to make space. So we'll give that a 0 for now. I mean, it's a good synth. It's a good plug-in if you don't have hardware. Although I tend to struggle sometimes. I'll show you this. I tend to struggle a lot of times with patching on the screen. Paul is really good at it. Yeah. So there's a thing about that, George. They say, and I don't know how true this is anymore, but they say that if we actually physically write something down, we have a better chance of remembering it, or we'll remember it better than if we type it or otherwise scratch it in and commit it to memory. Try and commit it to memory some other way. So I don't know if that's true or not. But old school, that's our old school education. So this is a cool synth. Like I said, if you don't have a hardware ARP, the other thing that this does have that I don't have anyway is a 1601 sequencer module. Oh, that's pretty sick sounding, isn't it? Definitely not ambient. How are they doing that? What is that running through? What do they got going on? See, now I'll look at it and see what they got going on. So they go through voltage processors, not using sample and hold. Where are they getting that? Sample and hold out is going into frequency control, and keyboard's going to frequency control. These guys are getting quantized outputs of the sequencer for these two oscillators. And I do not know where they're getting that sick ripping thing from, because I don't see where they're. Let's see. Well, okay, they're using keyboard and VCO. Let's see. So an LFO on the filter and keyboard on the filter. Huh. Resonance is that's a wicked sound. There's no ring mod or anything going on. That's weird. Huh. Interesting. Mixmaster, hello. Good to see you. Well, anyway, like I said, I've got a 2600 clone in hardware. I'm not sure how often I'd actually use the software. So these guys, these augmented ones, are interesting. Probably going to wish I had set this up in Complete control, yeah, because I'm not getting any parameters mapped. These things are neat though, but they're kind of sort of like, let's get the pad out of the way for the moment. If you get into these and start looking at the way this is put together, you can see it's a lot like pigments. It's like a simplified pigments in some ways. Oh, you got your SQ10, cool. So each you get 2 layers that you can, they say, morph between. I think it's more of a mix than a true morph. But I love these. I love all the augmented, so they're, you know, they'll stay. But each layer's got a, you know, a thing, usually a sampler. In this case, a sampler, and then you've got a synth sound kind of thing. You get different synth engines that you can play with, I think. Some of these things don't behave the same way on the Mac as they did on the PC, which is interesting. I thought you could change what was in these layers. Maybe not. It does have a granular engine. I thought you could change that. Guess not. Guess it's locked down. I could swear. Let's see, that's just that stuff. Well, like I say, they remind me a lot of trimmed down versions of a trimmed down version of, oh, here we go, okay. So each engine can be one of 5 types, you know, and they're they are almost right out of pigments. So these really are, the difference, Jeff, is in the modifier keys on the keyboard. So where on a PC you've got Control, Alt, Escape, and Function, on a Mac you've got Command, Option, and, you know, and so they're a little different. So remembering which key translates where sometimes is a problem. But this was just a matter of remembering how to actually. It's kind of counterintuitive that changing this option here, where you're changing the source sample in this case, is where you actually get into changing the. Well, see, it's changed on me what it's doing. Really? Or maybe it's, oh, over here is where. So each one has a sampler and then a second thing. That's what it gets into. So. You know, interesting that in layer A has synth 2 and layer B has synth 1 as opposed to the other way around, but whatever. Just some quirky things, you know, in this. So you're unboxing, okay? You gotta make an unboxing video, Mixmaster. So let's see, you're unboxing a new toy, and Jeff is building things. You've got all the regular controls for the, I mean, this is, and modulation pathways. These really are kind of sort of cut down versions of Pigments, which doesn't make them bad, that's for sure. And I'm not even sure it makes them redundant, to be honest. Because they do behave in different ways. Like you can't do this morph action in Pigments or crossfade. So what's a custom morph mode? So yeah, it's just volume changes that you're changing. So you can crossfade between them. Or this one's additive, where you'll add B to A. And then you can set up all kinds of custom stuff in the macros there. All right, so I'm going to just go and do. George, don't ask Jeff how cold it is not where he is. It's not cold where he is. It's warm where Jeff is. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and give these all of the augmenteds. They're going to get a rating of 4 in the chart here. And this may be something we end up doing over a couple of weeks. I'm pretty sure. So some of these augmented synths are pretty cool, though. They're all pretty cool, really. The grand piano is kind of the least cool of them, I think. This time of year, his cold definitely is our warm. Although, interestingly, I'm in Maryland. I'm in central Maryland. My mother lives on the eastern shore of Maryland. And while we were freezing our private parts off yesterday, it was 42 degrees where she is. And they had thunderstorms while we were getting snowed on. Yeah, that's definitely in the that's definitely in the keeper pile. Even though it's not my favorite of these, Mallets is a little weird. Yeah, I know. envelopes. Let's do this. Turn this into a pad and see how it works. And we'll go to layer B and hit its envelopes. This guy. All right. Did I get the wrong? It's filter sampler. Oh, okay. I got to do that as well. Well, I was moving snow. Well, I started shoveling pretty soon after the storms, or first thing in the morning yesterday, and I went out every 2-3 hours and moved some snow. I did that all day. Then I went out this morning and basically went till I couldn't go anymore, and then I had a fella come over and with his plow truck and push a bunch of stuff out of the way so I could get the when the plows go, when the county plows go through, they make up these big chunks of ice and land them on the street, and I had to get all that stuff moved so we could get my wife's car out, and so the mail, well, I don't know what it was like down in Bowie for this storm, but I finally got to the point I couldn't shovel anymore. I had no feeling. My wrist. Some of you know this wrist is all screwed up. My right wrist is all screwed up, and I didn't even know if I was going to be able to play anything tonight. It was just bad. So obviously I'm here doing stuff, but it was a bad scene. Let's see something here. Let's make that go away. Make that a reverb instead for now. Asaph, good to see you. Welcome. Yeah, these augmented things are so cool. Let's see, B3 I'm probably never going to use. It's a great organ. I mean, if you want, let's see here, do a, so great grindy organ, probably one I'll never use. So let's see, into my list. Whoops, wrong thing. There we go. B3, 0. Now let's see. The Buchla easel, I can't get my head around how the Buchla easel even works. It's a weird synth. It's loud too. It's another one of those things that's, you know, patch on the. Yeah, so Mixmaster, the B3, they've got a couple rotaries in there, and as part of it, as any good B3 emulation should. It's you know, it's a good emulation of a B3. It's a really good emulation of a B3 or a C3, but it just doesn't at this point fit in what I'm doing. If I were still playing rock and roll, I'd be all over it. Jason, good to see you. The advanced panel on the easel is easy. Huh. Okay. Oh, I'm looking at left hand, right hand. What does that mean? That has to do, that's down into the way the touch thing works. Yeah, so I actually sat down with one of these in hardware and was completely confused by it. Although I got more sound out of it than anybody else did at that particular event. Oh, that'll get me a copyright bang, you know. Yeah, I don't even know where to begin. Says there's a sequencer involved somewhere. This one's because I'm lazy. Oh, there's the pulse sequence. So if I turn, yeah, not even sure where to start with that. Requires patch cables, which, you know, patch cables don't scare me, but patch cables on this are just. This is just a weird synth. I never got into the Buchla way of thinking, I guess is the best way to describe it. So I'm going to put that down the list. Easel. Give that a 2. Clavinet's another one I'll probably very rarely use. Because again, I'm not doing that kind of stuff anymore, really. And I can pick, the other thing is some of these that I'm dropping off that I'm giving zeros, I can do those, I can use something else to play those. Like they're all in Omnisphere. So, you know, I don't need duplication either. Let's see, the CMI. So that's where that sound came from. It sounds very much like one of the synth sounds in, oh, what's that Yes tune? I can't remember the name of the song, but I can't even remember how the melody goes to play it. Anyway, I think it was on 90125. What is a time synth? No idea what oh, I can see it because I can, I should, you know, probably read the, oh, yeah, okay. Sort of makes sense. Oh, neat. Yeah, this is what I'm going to want to play with. I love digging into stuff like this. Oh, I'm going to want to do that. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's a 5. That's a 5 right there. So you kind of get, I kind of get in these traps where, or these ruts where I'll use, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 synths for everything, and that's kind of what the purpose of you know, the categorization that I wanted to start doing a couple of weeks ago, and you know, going through tonight, start looking at the lesser used synths. And I know I could be doing this on my own time, but it's always fun for discussion too. I think anyway. You guys may think differently, but there's a few of you still hanging out to listen. So while I ramble through this, you know, so here's another one I probably don't need. Turn it up a little bit. I never liked the CP70 when it was, you know, a real thing, you know. So that one's probably going to come off the list. Thunk. Tab. The other kind of purpose behind getting rid of some of these like this is, you know, I get this into, one of the reasons I fall into the ruts, I think, is just I have too many choices. So, have to have the CS, got to keep the CS80. You know, it's classic, and if I'm going to be the next evangelist, I have to know how it works, you know. There's no danger of my becoming the next evangelist, that's for sure. But I'm not necessarily going to give it a 5. It's going to be a 4 there. And next is the CZ, I think. And that we were playing with before. That's definitely a 5. That's a neat synth. I've got that set up over here. The mod matrix is a little weird, and I am actually having a bit of an issue, though. It's like I've got aftertouch dialed in on the on this the modulation for the two lines, and you can see if I do it with the as I'm doing with playing with this here. Let me bring that up full screen. So if you're looking here, you can see when I move the mod wheel, those waves change shape, right? So I should also be having that going on with aftertouch, not to a similar extent. But I'm heaving down on these keys, and I know the modulation the aftertouch is working, but I'm not getting anything out of it. So I'm either doing something really wrong, or it for some reason doesn't work. So anyway, back over to here. So CZ is definitely a keeper. Did I put that in there? Yeah. I like things that do unique things. DX7, I've got Op6, I've got FM8. So the DX7, I'm not even going to bother. And I never liked the sound of a DX7 anyway. I know that may be blasphemy to some, but you know, the sounds are, whoops, I did not want to, yeah, it's fine. To me, a lot of the sounds in the DX7 are just so over, and the sound capability of the DX7 is just so over-visited, especially when I've got such, you know, much better, hey Sean, when I've got so many better FM synths, honestly, I mean, it's really what it gets down to. That'll be another copyright hit. Well, and you know, it's not that the sound is bad. It's just, but so many of the, you know, so many of them are so over. We just heard them so much. Of course, now I can't think of which some of the patches that were the ones that were just like beat into the ground. Well, one is the, I think this is the one. No. Maybe Arturia didn't put it in. There's an electric piano that was like the infamous one. And it's like, you know, kind of like the one patch on the M1 that got paid, you know, played into oblivion. You know, and maybe Arturia was kind and didn't put that in there. But anyway, DX7's not gonna hang. Like I said, I got better FM synths, and you know, who knows in the next, you know, when version 2. Yeah, exactly, Sean. Who knows? You know, maybe when version 2 of the firmware comes out, I'll buy a Levia synth. You know, not before. That's for sure. I'm going to jump over here real quick. Yeah, I got that out already. So emulator. And like I said, I haven't touched any of these since I bought the Mac, obviously. Part of me is like, you have to keep the emulator, and part of me is like, I've got so many other sample-based synths, you know. Although this does do some nice, this is, yeah. No, I probably, have to at least look at how this works. So I got Triton strings. Yeah, see, I could do all of this kind of stuff in the wave state. Well, that is true, Sean. You know, there is definitely a different quality to these. You know, there's aliasing going on and all that kind of stuff. And Arturia have done a great job of you know, modeling that. Now, see, I'd like to one-shot this symbol. So let's see if I turn. And do I make it louder there? Yes. And let's only transpose it up 1 octave instead of 2. Out of curiosity, I'd have to change the start point. Yeah, this may stay around. Too much volume on that, though. What other fun samples do I have to put in there? Just for fun, just to real quick and see how this is going to hang around. Put a guitar on it. That one. Oops, wrong one. No, that was not a better change, but what the heck. Let's go ahead and rate this one a 3. Whoops. emulator. Emulator. What else we got here? Well, there's a lot of these things. Farfisa, we're going to skip. It's transistor organ. Not going to be in my world much. And again, I've got them in Omnisphere. This is going to be blasphemy, but I just, we talked about this, I think, last week or maybe the week before or whatever it was. I've just never been much of a Juno fan. Never been much of a Roland fan, honestly. And like I said, I know that's blasphemy, but I mean, I know how to make them make noises, you know. Didn't want to do that, though. Best thing about a Juno is the chorus. And I've got the chorus separately. So let's go make the Juno 6. Put that as a 1. Doopy-doop. And, you know, I don't know if the Jupiter 8's going to make me any more excited or not. Probably not. Yeah, not too thrilled. Makes buzzy noises. That's 8, right? Yeah, Droop 8. Again, not sounds that I can't get elsewhere. And, you know, now the 8000's a different synth. That's for sure. It's loud too, man. Somewhere there's a mix. There it is. This is a synth you can start to get in doing interesting things with. Let's see, turn the envelope control up. It's a little shrill. All right, that I kind of like. All right, so Jupe 8000, and this was new in the latest version of the collection. I'm going to give that a solid 4. MS-20. It's another one of those patch on screen things, and I just, it doesn't work for me. The thing about the MS-20 is it's got a wicked filter, which I can use, which I can get elsewhere. I've got that separately. So, whoops, typo there. So MS-20, not going to make it, I don't think. Matrix. One of my first introductions to, I didn't really get to mess with it much, but I did get to mess with not a Matrix 12, but I think it was an OB-X, maybe. That was a pretty neat synth. But this sounds an awful lot like stuff I could make in Ultra or Vital or, you know? Or with, honestly, with, you know, any number of things. What would be the high points of a Matrix 12, you know? What is this going on over here? Looks like there's some stuff, interesting stuff to explore in here. We're going to go. that definitely has. There's lots of modulation going on in here too. 5 envelopes and 5 LFOs. Anything that's like stacked with modulation, I tend to really want to. I really love. So let's see. Matrix 12 is going to make it. Matrix. I'm going to give it a 4 because there's some overlap, but you know, it's very, very Vital-esque, but I think it's got some interesting character in the so that's that's where that's coming in. Mellotron Mini 4. Got that stuff in Omnisphere. And any number of other things can do, you know, something that sounds kind of like the Mini. And if I get into something where I need it, I can always obviously load it. So here's this one ends up a little bit of a conundrum for me. I almost bought one Mini Brute when it first came out, and I've regretted not buying an original Mini Brute. But now I've got the Poly Brute, you know, and so it's down to does this, you know, I mean, a lot of this stuff is this is almost this is the interesting bits out of the Poly Brute. With a little more flexibility in the oscillator. So this is the Brute got Poly Aftertouch. Which you don't get normal response to in the hardware Poly Brute until you get the Poly Brute 12. The Poly Aftertouch response on the Poly Brute 6 is a little weird. Oh, this is lovely. The original Mini Brute was not polyphonic either. This, dare I say, this could almost replace the Poly Brute in my world. Now, I know that's going to make Jeff twitch a little bit, but I haven't powered the Poly Brute on in, you know, a long time. Except when I put the studio back together recently to make sure it worked. Yeah, I got to keep the Mini Freak. I was not initially a huge fan of the Mini Freak, even though they included a lot of things that was on the focus group wish list. I mean, they really got a lot of what we wanted, but I never quite fell in love with it. But it's definitely an interesting synthesizer. Yeah, we'll keep that one. But we're going to give it a... It gets a 4, though. Modular V3 we're going to skip. That's for... I know that. I don't need it. I got, you know... I mean, I know it's supposed to... it's supposed to be Moog. I mean, you know, and it's very Moog-like, certainly. But I will, you know, pop it up really quick. But it's another one of those things, you know, I don't get into patching on screen. When I'm going to patch, I really want, you know, I really want my actual physical patch cables. I'm just kind of, I've become funny that way. Same reason I never fell in love with VCV rack. So let's see, OPX. This one is, let's see. Yeah, this I like a lot. The only thing I didn't like about the hardware on this, and I never got into, never liked, never liked these paddles for pitch bend and modulation. They were you can't really tell it from the screen, but there's there are these weird big paddles that you use instead of the traditional mod wheel and pitch wheel, and I never, they were uncomfortable for me. Oh, let's see. Remember how to do that. Let's take here, and we're going to make that destination. Can I do this? Oscillator 1 pulse width. That'll work. I want both of them, but I don't think I can get them both together. Looking for it. Nope, I don't. It looks like I have to do a separate modulation for each one, which actually could be interesting. Man, that mod matrix is small. Let's make this go away. We'll make that one the, and we'll make that oscillator 2-pulse width. It's kind of sloppy, but what the heck. Wrong one. Where is the... Okay, there it is. Would be nice if it had a second LFO. Now this is something that was not on the original, but you know. Okay, OPXA, solid 3. Yeah, 4. And it's getting late. Piano's out, pigment's in. Put those out, obviously. Piano. Pigments is one of my all-time favorite VSTs. There's, I guess, I don't know, 3 or 4 that make my all-time favorite. Pigments is one, and Absinthe, which I've, you all know I've got a really, I've always had a soft spot for. you know. And so those are probably my top two at this point. Ultra's really coming up in my likes a lot as well. So anyway, it's 9:45 my time. I have to get up and drive 3.5 hours tomorrow morning. So I'd like to thank everyone for stopping by, Sean and Mixmaster and George and Asaph and Jason and Jeff and Kurt, and I'm not sure who else is. Not sure who else was here. Did I miss anybody? I think that was everybody tonight. Yep, that looks like everybody. Thanks everyone for coming. I'm going to jam for 5 minutes or so, and then call it a night. Thanks everybody. We'll talk to you all later. We'll be back next week. Do some more of this. Do some of the more of this silliness. You know, what the heck? As long as we're having fun. You know. All right. So I'll see y'all guys. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.